Hi, my name is Cody and today we're going to be discussing brake inspections. First thing we're going to do is take off the tire. Once the tire is removed, you will then remove the drum. Now that we have the drum off, we will inspect the inside of the drum for any kind of glazing or heat marks, cracks, scoring, any kind of major damage to the drum. And since we already have the drum off, we might as well get a few measurements, make sure it's all good. Here I am checking the diameter of the drum, and for the specification of it, it is actually stamped into the drum. Next we're going to get our outer round. And what you want to do is get the measurement of your widest point, and you'll take 3 or 4 measurements and then subtract the smallest number from the biggest number, and that will give you your outer round. Next thing we're going to do is remove and inspect our rollers. Now these should actually have springs on them to hold them in, but they are missing from this wheel assembly, so those would need to be replaced. Now to get it out, what you're going to do is take your pry bar, stick it in along the shoe and pull down and pull that first roller out, and go along the top shoe, get your pry bar in there, and then lift up and pull out your second roller. Once you get these out, you're going to check them for any kind of flat spots or major damage. Next, we're going to take out the return spring, and you're going to use a forked pry bar for this. You'll hook that spring and then push down, and while you're pushing down on the spring as it releases, you will push it back so it will unhook, and it should come right out. Now that'll allow your bottom shoe to drop down. Now once you have this out, you will then inspect the return spring, check for any excessive wear, bending, or anything like that. This one is actually in pretty bad condition. The next thing we're going to check are the retainer springs, and you'll be looking for pretty much the same kind of wear on these as you did the return spring. Our next check is going to be the brake liner, and you're going to want to look at the rivet holes to make sure they're not oblong shaped. Check the liner itself for any kind of scoring, glazing, anything like that. You'll check the top and bottom. Another thing you can check is the lining width, which cannot be any smaller than 1/4 of an inch. Next thing we're going to check is the S-cam and camshaft. You'll check the S-cam for any flat spots or any major damage. Then we'll go to the back and remove the slack adjuster by removing this clevis pin. There should be a rotating pin in there to keep that in place, but that was missing, so it would need to be replaced. And up here there should be a snap ring to help keep the slack adjuster in place, which is also missing and would need to be replaced. Now once you get the slack adjuster off, you would then of course look over your slack adjuster and check for any major damages. You would also come to the back of the camshaft here and check the splines for any kind of major damages, flat spots along the S-cam, or anything like that. Since the slack adjuster is off, you could actually pull the S-cam out and check it for flat spots as well. You could also remove the hub and check it for damage, of course, and then remove the camshaft altogether and check the bushings and seals in there, make sure they're still good. Next thing we're going to check is the spider. On here we're going to be looking for any kind of major damage, any kind of cracks, scoring, anything like that. You can also check your anchor pins, make sure those don't have any flat spots on them or any kind of major damage. And you can check your air chambers and all the hoses connecting it, make sure all that's all good too at this point as well. Once you've checked all the components, you would then reassemble everything in the reverse order that you took it off in. And of course, when lifting anything heavy for the truck, it's good to have a spotter.